Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts,
Klaus Nightbringer,
Seyrr Kimono,
Chille,
and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 75. How's everyone doing tonight?
Tired. Okay.
Well, gee, I wonder why you're so tired.
I have been pet sitting for like the last week, and it's been great.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that on a couple of our streams, and it sounds like you're having a good time with Bowser.
Yep. Anyone who is following me on Twitter, you get to see adorable pictures of him.
See,
I'm going to go look at your Twitter.
Yeah, he is a very chill boy. Wants
He's a
all
good
the
boy?
belly rubs. He is a very good boy. Well,
Yeah.
he's I have a running joke with his dads about how he is a pretty okay boy. But he's a good boy.
You're a pretty okay boy?
It was a pretty good okay boy.
Okay. So, Chille, why don't you tell everybody why you're so tired?
I recently did a 24-hour stream a couple of days ago to try and raise some money for the Phoenix Down Radio Extra Life. Thanks to some of the amazing people that turned up. I would mention all the names, but my brain is not working thingies right. But I'm flattest for turning up. Shinta Klaus was there as well. Thank you, Klaus.
Yeah, I was trying to be a helpful, dutiful moderator as well.
Yeah, major moderator.
I
my
appreciate
channel.
that. Thank you, because it made it easier to post the link for you and things like that. So
Yeah, I will keep the link on the stream on my channel for now in case anyone wants to donate. I did have it underneath the stream, so anyway, I would like to say thank you again for that, and I would like to say thank you to everyone who turned up.
I do have the list of people who donated that didn't put anonymous on there. So if you want me to go ahead and leave that off for you.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
All right. So a huge thank you to Hunter Alakai, Susan Sprinkle, Momo
Yay, Susan.
Nicole, John Sheldon, and Neil Bolt for helping to raise $174 in that 24-hour stream.
Seriously, thank you all.
And with that, we are currently at $720 of our $1,000 goal for Extra Life. So thank you to everybody who's donated. And just a heads up for everybody who has donated, if we end up doing some giveaway incentives during the actual game day in November, all of these donations count towards that. So fear not, you are going to be entered in any of those drawings. So you're not going to be excluded. So
Also, a special thank you to Susan Sprinkles, who said, "Chille, man, how long to your next Carolina Reaper suite? How much do you need?" And I was like, "Oh, I need about $10." And she's like,
Boom.
"Okay."
and boom, there was $10.
Yeah, boom. Yeah, and close to Chille losing body hairs.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do at 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Because you're crazy. I never signed up for that, by the way. But
By the way, that was one of the worst parts of the stream, being on camera the entire time, because I do not go on camera because I hate the way I look. So it was for 24 hours on cam. It was like, nah.
You did an amazing job, Chille.
Thank you.
And I think everybody who has met you in person, knows that you are a beautiful person. So don't worry about that.
But yeah, it was fun.
So thank you again for helping us to raise funds for the Gillette Children's Hospital here in the Twin Cities. That's where all of our donations for Extra Life are going towards. All right. And Chille, you said you were thinking about doing something again in a couple of months, like October?
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly yet, but I'm hoping to do maybe another 24-hour stream in October. The reason why I'm probably not going to do it for game day itself is because,
You like to
as
hurry
we
yourself
know,
around
I'm
anyway.
a giant whore. So chances are I'm just going to pop into everyone's game streams and say hello to people and join them for stuff. Like last year, I ended up being on Maelstrom Radios for most of the night, and we played games and did what you call it? Oh, what's that game?
The Cards Against Humanity?
Yeah, Cards Against Humanity.
Oh, that was amazing. It actually was like almost every streamer from the community, the content creators group. And it was so
I love
much
you
fun.
too, Kay.
But yeah, we're definitely gonna do the games day, and we actually might be doing a podcast in the middle of that as well. So look forward to that. That's gonna be interesting. I've been up for about 12 hours streaming at that point. So
Yeah.
should be fun though. Also to everybody who's joining us live here at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio, you'll notice some beautiful little badges next to a bunch of our chatters' names. Sub badges are now live here on the Phoenix Down Radio Twitch channel. So the people who support us through the subscriptions, whether it's through their free Amazon Prime Twitch subscription every month, or if they choose to give us their hard-earned money, you now not only will get access to our exclusive emotes in the chat, but you'll also have that beautiful pinion next to your name. And depending on how long you support us for, you'll get more and more feathers, like the amazing Kane Thorbreaker, who has the beautiful glowing 4 pinions next to his name for supporting us for over a year. So thank you very much for that support. And I think they turned out really nice, guys. What do you think?
I do. They look pretty.
I'm not signed into chat, but I imagine that they glow with the radiance of 1,000 suns. You should make sure that they're not like radioactive and stuff. We would not want you to get magic cancer.
Maybe about 230 suns. Not quite 1,000.
I mean, that could still give you magic cancer. Is magic cancer a thing? I feel like magic cancer is a thing.
I mean, it's cancer. Everything's a thing.
If it was, see, magic doesn't give cancer because it's magical.
Okay.
Everything else gives cancer.
But, I mean, like, magic seems extra likely to give cancer. Do you know how cancer even works?
Not magic.
Oh my god, do not make me do a lore segment on cancer.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very fun.
No, that would not be
good. There is that one fate. It's not lupus.
It's cancer. A giant crab. So how does that work? It's a giant crab? Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, I mean, the actual origin of... There's this really fascinating biography of cancer that... Anyways.
Well, what about Scorpio?
It's a scorpion.
It's a lava scorpion. Praise lava scorpion.
Praise lava scorpion.
I'm an Aquarius.
I'm Pisces.
Anyway, what have you been up to this week, Seyrr? Besides dog sitting.
I mean, that's actually taken up a fair bit of it because they invited me to house sit while I was dog sitting, and my friends have a much better gaming setup and air conditioning, so I've been hanging out at their place a bit, which means I actually haven't been signed into FF14 very much. But I have been getting regular exercise. I've been making plans with people about what to actually do at FanFest. Lots of the content creators are having various gatherings and the like. And as the apparently official Phoenix Down Radio representative...
Only if you want to be.
Well, I mean, this means that anything I say, I am saying as like the mouthpiece of Phoenix Down Radio, right?
Yeah.
No.
Consider the fact they got some of us
tone out of my voice.
See,
Klaus knows where I'm going with this sort of thing way too fast.
Exactly.
Well, thank you, Aurori.
Well, I know. Yeah, well, one, I know you like to troll people, so
it's delightful.
And I don't want to make you feel that you have to be the official anything, because I want you to go out to FanFest and enjoy yourself first and foremost. So I just sent you some information based on if you would be interested in it. So
I got some emails. It's good.
Cool.
That said, I may take this opportunity to say that Phoenix Down Radio, I don't know, supports the Communist Manifesto. We're going to redistribute everything from Ulda. It'll be great.
I might not be so bad. I'm not, not hating that idea.
Now, Klaus, you will be forced to wear a babushka as part of this. How do you feel about borscht?
I love beets.
This is going to work great.
Okay, guys. I'm not a big fan of this, but if I'm allowed to wear a poncho, I'll agree.
Well, you can wear a poncho and a giant sombrero.
But we're going for communist kleptocracy here. I need more Russian.
I just want a poncho.
I mean, you can have a poncho, but
there we go.
Like you can't wear it when you're making appearances as part of the state. Like, it's a private time poncho.
That's fine. I'll take that.
Okay.
Phoenix Down Radio does not support any of this at all.
Phoenix Down Radio doesn't support pod shows? Wow.
It doesn't support the last 4 minutes of chat from Seyrr's mouth.
Oh, I mean, that's reasonable. I say a lot of weird shit.
Yes, and that's why we love you, apparently.
So it's like a Stockholm Syndrome thing. Got it.
Well, that's how I get out of every podcast, so...
No, you force that for you. It's more of a parasitic thing. You kind of latch on.
Yeah, like Fusion said, I just turn up and they go, well, he's here already.
It's gonna be a lot tougher to get rid of him. So no, that's absolutely not the way it is. So anyway, and part of what Seyrr was talking about actually is part of our discussion today, because for July and, coming into August here, there hasn't been a lot of content to really engage a lot of people. There hasn't been a lot of news either coming out of the Final Fantasy with stuff going on. So
yeah, I've barely been signing in, honestly.
So we're going to talk a little bit about what people have been doing, in the meantime, because Yoshida has said that people don't necessarily have to stay, signed into Final Fantasy XIV all the time. He wants us to take breaks. He wants us to keep the game fresh. He wants us to keep enjoying our time here in Eorzea. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we want to hear from you guys as well. So like I said, jump in our Discord, jump into the call-in channel, and post in the show discussion text channel what you'd like to talk about, and we'll bring you into the show. So please look forward to that. So let's start talking about a little bit of gaming community news. We're going to talk a little about the Gacha Roundup first, because there actually has been some stuff that came through from Final Fantasy XIV regarding the 5-year anniversary. So I want to talk about that in a little bit more depth. So Seyrr, why don't you talk about the mobile games? So
it's funny that you mentioned that, because it seems like a lot of these games are having anniversary celebrations around now.
Yeah, they are.
Summer is
definitely.
just a big time for these releases. For Final Fantasy Record Keeper, Dungeon Update 47 is just around the corner. That one is going to be featuring Final Fantasy IV: The After Years, Final Fantasy 13-2, and Final Fantasy Tactics. Aura and Inject are the focus of the current Final Fantasy X event, and we will soon see a Final Fantasy XII event that's going to be giving us some new relics for the arrival of that realm's Neo Torment battle. Should be a fun time. For Mobius, the new Final Fantasy X event, Dream Within a Dream, has begun, featuring a legendary job based on Auron. Man, this is really Auron's month. Tidus as a new ultimate hero, and the new supreme card of FF10 Sin with the Dark Mage skill Giga Graviton. There is also a celebration for the game's second anniversary, and that's going to have extra bonuses all month long.
Woo! So basically the entire month of August is going to be Mobius Day.
Yep. So Mobius Day for the first 2 weeks of it, including an extra special Mobius Day on 8/8 with a bonus 888 stamina, among other things.
Holy shit.
Yep.
How am I going to bring through all that?
There's options.
Yeah, I suppose I can go into...
Life finds a way.
Clever girl.
Yeah. Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is going to have a month-long summer festival beginning on Monday, and that'll feature daily login bonuses, a cooperative event that rewards a variety of new types of event tokens that can be exchanged for lots of different goods like Power Stones, even a few free relic draws over the course of that.
Sweet. I need to get some stuff for my my guys.
Yep. We're about almost at the end of the current Auron event and about halfway through a Garnet event. The next character event is going to feature Celeste with her Runic Blade ability.
You forgot to mention the new chapter event that joined us as well.
Oh, yes, we did. Well, it'd been a tiny bit. But yeah, they do have the new chapter 9 has been released. And so they are having some time-limited bonuses for people who start delving into that now.
Yep, as well as 3 new characters available there.
Yep. Edgar, Seyrr from FF13, and Irvine, I believe it was.
Yes.
They do have a current round of Heretic quests that feature those guys right now as well. So that's almost at an end. Do your best to get those special rewards.
Those are
And
tough,
in
though.
Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, we've had a major shakeup in the meta because 7-star awakenings are here. So we've got delicious power creep for everyone. They also have had the first Final Fantasy VIII characters available. That event is featuring Squall, Rinoa, and Zell, and the opportunity to gather absurd amounts of triple triad cards.
Quistis or Riot?
Eventually, I'm sure. I actually ended up getting both Squall and Rinoa while I was trying to get 2 of one of them for 7-star Awakening, so we'll see how that goes. They also are having months of special events, including a free daily draw with an increased chance for a 5-star unit, part of the player's choice voting they had over the anniversary event. So definitely log in, make sure you get your fun bonuses for that. And that's what we've got going on in the gacha scene.
Yep, I've basically been playing Defu lately, because that's still been a lot of fun. They've done a really good job at that game.
Trying to keep up with everything is kind of exhausting. I'm starting to feel like I should maybe dial it back a bit.
I have been doing a little bit of Mobius, doing it mainly through Steam because it just takes up way too much room on my phone.
Oh yeah, I've been doing the Steam app for that as well. It actually works really well.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good program. It makes it actually to work through everything a lot easier.
Yeah, no, I am a big fan.
And the graphics are amazing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy with it.
Go ahead. For me, the gacha game I've been playing is my Dragon Ball game, Seyrr. And I hard to describe, but categories are like the top tier meta right now. And for the second part of the anniversary, they gave a simple free category team for everyone if you did a bit of grinding over the week.
Nice.
So basically, they added the Ginyu Force. And for every day, you could grind one of the Ginyu Force members until the final day where you got the leader. And then you basically got the entire team for free, all maxed out.
That's pretty sweet to not have to deal with that for a little bit.
And they can pretty much beat most of the top tier events as well, which is nice. They're not as easy, you won't beat them as easily as with actually paid units, but
yeah,
you can still beat them.
You tend to see this for a lot of games, especially like when they have an anniversary event or some other thing like that. They like to give like a lot of rewards as kind of a chance to catch up, let people start because if you're constantly struggling with it, it just becomes exhausting. And having a chance to get some of the new fun power stuff, get to feel strong, it's something that can really help revitalize the interest in the game.
Yeah, they've been really good for the third anniversary, so.
Cool. All right. So there was an interview that came out recently from the GG.net with the one and only Koji Foxx. Now, Seyrr, you've had a chance to read through this interview, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Chille, did you get a chance to look at it?
No, not really.
Why don't you go and click on the link there and bring it up. I want to talk about a few of the questions that are in here. Now, I didn't realize that Koji had worked for Square Enix for so long.
Oh yeah, like at the it is actually the fond memory of a friend of mine at the original FF11 Fan Fest, like the very first one, seeing him like playing music during the concert and jumping around and just being kind of a huge dork.
Yeah, he's been working for Square Enix since 2003, guys. That's pretty amazing.
Mm.
And he actually got the job. Actually, he started working from their Japanese office. So he worked there first. So as a translator.
It kind of feels like there's a story about behind that. It's like, okay, how did you end up in Japan to even be taking this position?
Yeah, he actually told a story about it too.
Well, yes.
Trying to remember where that was at. He graduated with a degree in English education and linguistics. And after getting his teaching license and government certification, he taught at a middle school there for 3 years.
And I'm given to understand that's actually a common path for a lot of people who are really interested in Japan, wanting to do stuff with it, going in as an English teacher.
Yep, I had a friend who actually did that as well. He spent about 3 or 4 years over there. He really enjoyed it. But he was doing some beta testing for a super secret, amazing Squaresoft game called Final Fantasy XI.
Oh, wow.
And he came across a webpage, said that they were hiring people to translate, and he went and applied, and as he says, the rest is history. So yes, people, you can, get things if you just give it a try. amazing,
sometimes.
right?
Like, the big thing I'd say on that is it's really unpredictable.
Well, you have
People
a
are
100%
often looking for
chance of missing the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
If you
Well, like,
don't
people are
try, you
often-
won't get.
Yeah. People are often looking for, like, oh, here's this guaranteed path that will get me to that. And it's more like, hey, like go and just do this stuff because it's interesting or because it catches your eye, because it's really unpredictable what's going to actually lead there. So maybe don't stress about it that way.
Well, I mean, the thing is, give it a try, because, you know, the worst thing that can happen is you don't get it. Realistically.
I mean, that's not the worst thing that can happen, but I can think of some pretty bad things.
Well, we don't want to think about those. We're trying to help people here, Seyrr. Well, help is relative, but...
Maybe I'm helping them by helping them realize the crushing despair in which we all exist. Wait, what? I said the things I was thinking again, didn't I?
Yes, you did. That's why we need to filter for you. Just a small one.
Oh, the Seyrr, no filter, Instagram.
.com.
I want a doggy filter for Seyrr.
Oh man, I should get Instagram. Anyways.
I like they asked what his favorite Final Fantasy games were. Final Fantasy 1, 5, 6, 11, and 12 are the ones he listed.
I must admit, my favorite bit is when he said, I was playing 6, and then he apologized because he meant 3.
Yeah. It was kind of interesting to that he also talked a bit about his favorite non-Final Fantasy games.
Oh, yeah. Solar Jetman, Hunt for the Golden Warship. That's one I had not heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it sounds...
Blaster
like
Master, Demon's Souls, Tactics Ogre, and Wizardry series up to 6. So he's a very versed game player as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they ask about all his years as a translator, what the hardest game project has been. And basically it's, you know, because he says most of his time at Square Enix, he's been blessed with the opportunity to work with some amazing development teams. But, you know, they try to provide the grammatical authenticity when they're trying to localize and translate these games from Japanese over to English or French or German or whatever language you're trying to go to. So, I mean, trying to be true to the way the language actually feels versus an actual direct translation from what it is in Japanese. I mean,
and he commented that he has the advantage of sitting right next to the person who wrote the original Japanese text. So it's really easy to check in and say, like, hey, when you said this, is this what you mean? Like, being able to get that clarification. A lot of people doing translation and localization work don't always get that direct contact and chance to clarify.
Yeah, they get to actually find out versus just either use their gut feeling or guess.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons that you have such like a smooth, clean, like really good localization is because you do have the ability to actually get that back and forth. Something that was missing from a lot of, especially the earlier translations of various games, the what's often referred to as a blind idiot translation. You can see that a lot of it was. You can see a lot of it was people who were doing their best but didn't really have a lot to go on.
Fun fact, being we're talking about localization, I was recently watching a replay of the RPG Limit Break playthrough of Final Fantasy VIII this summer, and they had commented that in the original Japanese, Squall doesn't say whatever a lot. He says sorry.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is a huge tonal difference right there.
And it was something where they were trying to like communicate a certain type of tone and maybe did not quite realize how it might come off to a different audience.
Yeah. I mean, because if you think of, if it's thought of the way we think of sorry, it's like he feels like he made a mistake. He's like, oh, sorry. And versus, you know, somebody says something, he's like, whatever. So, I mean,
yeah,
it still
felt like there was a little bit of kind of like a sullen thing to it, given that Squall has the recurring thing of like being uneasy about getting closer to others.
Yeah, it just...
Whatever.
Damn it, Chille. But I mean, there's a lot of good questions in here, so I do recommend that if you have the time, go ahead and read through this article. I did link it in the Twitch chat, and I will go ahead and put it in the show notes as well for those of you listening on the podcast. So please look forward to it.
Like, if you guys have given me any indication, you people love lore. This is a really good chance to, like, get a bit of insight into the actual process that comes behind all this stuff.
By the way, as Kane said, the time Final Fantasy VIII came out, whatever was kind of a thing to say.
Yeah, but it's still a very tonally different thing with how it feels for his character saying sorry versus saying whatever.
Whatever.
It's complicated.
But he was the
That's what this type
prettiest
of
in
thing
the room.
usually is.
Yeah, I can see that, Kane. So maybe they maybe tried to make Kane feel
Kane. That's the new character.
Kane. Well, they can rename him. They're trying to make Squall feel a little bit more apathetic versus pathetic.
Dude's a child soldier. That messes you up.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Well,
one of the
that's not
things that,
my fault,
until it was pointed out to me years later, Final Fantasy VIII is a game about child soldiers. The whole thing about, like, their memories effectively being taken away by the Guardian forces and not being able to remember their childhood, like, that is an actual child's childhood taken away by being a child soldier.
Yeah, well, the whole story is just very dark and not to mention confusing, but yeah, I mean, if you really get in depth to it,
Time compression.
that's a whole nother potential episode. So
yeah,
let's go ahead and pin
But
that.
was he dead all along?
No, it hit
no,
him in the shoulder.
that one's stupid.
No, I guess I do understand the theory behind it too, and it is kind of funny.
I
Anyway,
understand the theory, it's just
Ultimisia.
stupid.
Anyway, so we did finally get a Final Fantasy XIV 5th anniversary website with a calendar of upcoming events. Again, I'm going to link that in the Twitch chat. Starting with a message from the developer. Starting with a message from Yoshi P himself. If I can go ahead and read that.
I find it weird they start with Yoshi P, not end with.
I think they want to start with the man, to give it a good feeling, and then they'll add the other developers as they go on. Anyway,
yeah,
it's been 5 years since A Realm Reborn launched on August 27th, 2013, and almost 8 years since I started working on the original FFXIV. The first thing that springs to mind is, hasn't time flown, which is a bit cliche, but when I stop to reflect on everything, all the memories come flooding back, and I realize just how eventful they've been. To tell the truth, these last 8 years have been the most challenging for me, for better or worse. I'm still a game developer, and my sleeping pattern hasn't changed much, except now my life revolves almost entirely around FFXIV. And now, just from making and running the game, and not just from making and running the game, but as one of the Warriors of Light too. So yeah, it keeps me pretty busy. None of this would have been possible without the many people who have guided me along the way. Of course, I'm talking about the Warriors of Light around the world who have supported us these 8 years, as well as the development and operations teams who are always so patient with me. There isn't a specific point we're trying to get to with Final Fantasy XIV, but there's still so much we want to do with this game, and we've got a lot of surprises in store that I think you're going to enjoy. The world of Final Fantasy XIV is a culmination of everyone's devotion and commitment, and the future is what we make it together. I hope you'll all be there to see where this journey takes us. That's kind of a nice message to start off this whole 5th anniversary period.
I wish the dude would get proper sleep once in a while.
Well, okay.
What is this proper sleep you talk about?
What's your title again on Gilgamesh?
Not on Gilgamesh, but on
or whatever server?
On the Crucible's Discord server, I am known as Human Maintenance Expert Seyrr, mostly for reminding people to drink water and get proper sleep, and checking in about when's the last time they ate something.
I think I'm still called Quick Pump.
I believe last I knew you were called 16 Seconds of Misery. I've never wanted to ask why.
I haven't been there in a while. I don't dare ask. Anyway.
Big Papa.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
In a weird way.
No,
in their way, it's nice.
Yeah, I guess. But
they added a channel to talk about cooking relatively recently, so
it's actually just Papa now. So.
Oh, okay.
So that makes you feel a little better, I guess. Anyway.
Well, you're tall, so.
And I'm also old.
There you go.
Comparatively. Yeah, I think this all came from the Extra Life stream last year.
All I know, with me, you get 16 seconds of misery.
Really don't want to know.
Well,
what
they
that
say
means.
misery loves company.
Uh,
Anyway, so they did now give us a calendar of some notable events coming up. So up until August 10th, you can still go ahead and vote for your 10 favorite Final Fantasy XIV songs from A Realm Reborn through Stormblood. So make sure you go ahead and vote for those. The link is in
and I'll
last
probably
week's.
forget again.
Go do it now, Chille. We'll wait.
But
No, it won't.
We won't. You're right. But you can check out the website that I linked, and there will be a link to the to where you can go vote for those. Just like in years past, they are going to have Tales from the Storm short story series. Those are going to be starting on August 10th, so look forward to those. I loved those stories.
Historically, they've used them as a way to also set up stuff for what's going to be happening in the future, to hint at that. So I know a lot of the lore mongers are going to be eagerly awaiting each one and poring over it in great and loving detail.
Absolutely. Moonfire Fair starts August 13th, guys.
yes, next week. Kind of.
No. It's
Oh
the
man,
week
do you
after.
think Godbert Manderville would ever think of opening up like a water park?
That could be amazing?
This thought
and
has
then-
been brought to you by Seyrr's recent desire to go to Raging Waters.
To be fair, though, I still want them to add for the summer event a rubber chocobo. Yeah, to put around your waist.
Oh, like an inner tube.
Yeah.
I was very worried about where you were going with
Rubber
that.
chocobo, you're the one.
I was trying to say I was being innocent for once. I was, they could have like a chocobo one, a Moogle one, and now Namazu one.
Yes, yes.
Mm. I mean, Namazu are the new hotness, so
But I was thinking that would be cute, wouldn't it?
it would. Oh my god, I would totally go for that.
Hopefully we'll get some information as to what's going to be coming in that event soon. The Rising will
Wow.
start 2 weeks after that, August 27th. Big surprise.
I'm shocked, I tell you. Shocked.
And there will be another Final Fantasy XIV 14-hour broadcast starting on August 31st at 8 p.m. Pacific time. It'll probably be on the
Apparently
Twitch
they
TV /
also
Final
don't care
Fantasy
about it.
XIV. But it's going to be a very different time in Japan, so they'll get proper sleep.
Just
Okay, I
remember
guess a
also-
14-hour one works.
Just remember also, this probably won't be translated, so...
Probably not.
Not
Yes,
formally
yes, Collider.
translated anyways. I fully expect that people are going to be doing their informal translations as they usually do.
Absolutely. We'll get
But
something.
don't expect anything, but if because there's probably going to be a live letter.
Oh, that's a good point. There will be a live letter.
Because 4.4 is mid-September, so this will probably be the preview of
Part 2.
part 2. If they don't do it before then, but
They
they
haven't
might
announced
just
anything.
delay it.
So I would think that this will probably be the part 2.
Yeah.
They'll give us a release date. We'll get some.
Well, they already said mid-September, so it's normally 2 weeks after the preview, isn't it? So
not always, but like I said, we'll get an exact date at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, look forward to all of that, guys. And there was some updated information on the Final Fantasy XIV companion app that we were supposed to get end of July, beginning of the end of July, beginning of August.
Yeah.
It's still not out.
Yeah.
Um,
They did put out the information about like the little instruction user guide for it, so people have a bit more idea of the types of features and the like we're going to see from
Yep.
it.
And I pasted that in the notes as well, so you guys can take a look at that.
I already did.
Yeah, I did. That's what I said.
Oh yeah.
And an item of note, the paid $5 monthly subscription that they will be offering will include an additional retainer. It will not just
That's
include the
very
ability to
good.
buy one from the Mog Station. What was meant by that is you'll be able to hire one within the game, which means you'll have the option already assigned to your character.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you have not purchased any additional retainers from the Mog Station, you will have the 2 that you can hire for just unlocking them in the game, plus a 3rd, as long as you pay for that subscription.
Now, can I make a little bit of a complaint about the coupon nuts?
Go for it.
Now, there'll be you get the premium plan, which is the $5 a month, and you got the free version. Now, you get 1 coupon nut per day with the free version, but you get 2 coupon nuts per day with the premium.
Correct.
But the issue I have with the free one is not just because it's 1 per day, but because it's capped at 2. So
it's to encourage you to use them.
You can't stock them up for a day where let's just say you're going to be logging on for a few days, so you want to stock your coupon nuts, and then Friday I'm going to be working hard and I'm going to be busy on Saturday because EV day or whatever. So you know what, Friday I want to unload my nuts.
You're gonna unload your coupon nuts, huh?
Onto the market board.
Well, it makes sense that you can only have 2, in that case.
I mean, if I had to guess, the big concern there, I think, is actually in terms of server load. You've got requests that are coming into the server now from these phone apps as well.
But I would say 5, because if you've got the premium one, you can have 10.
But if you've got the premium one, you are also sending them extra money to help with paying the cost for more servers and things like that.
That's why I was saying 5 for the free one should be good, because that way it's half the 10.
Like, I would not attempt to judge it without actually knowing what the server loads and costs are.
I think what they're doing at this point is they're being very conservative with what they're going to allow the free player base to use.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that they are able to offer a service that everybody is able to utilize, but that it does not cause detriment to the player base in general.
Also, you can hold the coupon nuts for up to 180 days.
Yep. So they're making sure that you can only have, utilize a couple of them unless you're paying to help, with the server infrastructure. It's a bonus. It's a thank you for actually helping them out, is what they're doing there.
And we don't know.
Sorry. And I was going to say, if they end up, determining that it doesn't have as much of a detriment to the server impact, they may actually increase the amount that we can stockpile in the future.
Yeah, this would not be the first time that they said, hey, we're going to start out small, see what the server load looks like, and then consider expanding it later on.
Exactly. And I don't think they're going to be rolling out the paid subscription right away either. They're going to make sure that the app is working well first before they have people pay for it.
Oh, and there is going to be mod coins where if you do want to spend real money to upgrade, buy more coupon nuts, you can spend real money.
Yes.
It doesn't say how much mod coins are, but 1 mod coin is 1 coupon nut.
Yeah,
so
it'll be a 1-for-1 at that point, but we're not sure what the 1 is going to cost in real money.
And unlike coupon nuts, mod coins do not have an expiry date. So
because you effectively paid for the server load.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm happy that they're taking the right steps with this application. They're not, pushing it out there because the fans are demanding it. They're making sure.
I do wonder just how hard people are playing the market boards for those types of things to become that much of a consideration, that they apparently need to check in multiple times a day.
Well, some of the Omni crafters are probably, especially the ones that have corners on specific items or specific types of items.
I'm okay with people not being able to corner a market as easily.
Oh, I agree
All I'm going to say is goodbye market at board prices, because everyone already undercuts everyone else, and with the ability to undercut anywhere in the world at the same time, it's going to go crazy. I'll be honest. I'm not even sure. I know they're doing it, but I really don't feel like the market board idea was a good idea.
It's better than what they had.
I am going to wait to see how some of it shakes out.
I mean, I will say I did enjoy the auction house that they had in 11, and that that World of Warcraft used.
I wrote some papers for my game theory class on that system.
I mean, it was an interesting system for the fact that you could put an item up for as much as you wanted to, but people would buy it for whatever they wanted to pay for it. So, I mean, theoretically, like I said, what I would do a lot is I would see what an item sold for, because you got charged based on what you put the item up for sale for. the
They
amount?
changed that around in a couple different
they
various points. Yeah,
Okay.
they played with the pricing structure from time to time.
Initially, let's say if you would put up an item for sale, because you had to pay for it, the amount you would put it up for sale for up front, not based off of how much it sells for.
Yeah.
And if it didn't sell, that listing fee might just be lost.
Yes.
And to be fair, then they put like taxes, and so everyone decided to go stand inside the lower Juno.
Yes.
And then they put taxes on that, so they went outside and stood in Roland Berry Fields.
Yes.
Roland Berry Mart.
Ah, Roland Berry Mart.
And then you would have people that would train gobbies through there and kill everybody.
Not on my server, really.
There were various shenanigans. We could probably fill an episode just talking about some of those.
Absolutely.
Like your Hota jungle.
I don't see why people had a problem with that. I usually did not get lost there.
Oh no, I remembered a lot of times.
Training.
People would be doing XP pies, and then someone would train a goblin in to kill them, and then steal the party area.
Gobby trained to Selbina.
Yeah. Remember the White Mage AF boss that spawned in the dunes?
Oh, and people actually, I remember people training that all along the beaches and.
And I think in a lot of them, they weren't even necessarily trying to MPK. They're just like, fuck, I don't want to get killed by this. Some people totally were.
Especially as it was low health aggro.
Oh, blood aggro.
Yeah, being it was an undead mob. So yeah, that's basically most of the gaming community news that we've gotten so far. If you have
don't forget Tuesday.
Oh yeah, well we talked about that in the last episode, but yes, Tuesday we are getting patch 4.36.
Yeah.
And that kind of actually leads into our discussion topic. How to handle content drought. So while patch 4.36 is coming up on Tuesday, and patch 4.4 is coming up in mid-September, no specific release date yet, there has been a lot of people that have been trying to keep invested with Final Fantasy XIV. Seyrr has mentioned that he hasn't been logging in as much. I know a lot of other content creators have talked about it on their shows, that they have been spending a lot more time either playing other games, just handling real life things, what have you. Yeah. But there have been a lot fewer people signing in to Eorzea on all the different servers. I've definitely noticed it here on Hyperion as well. But we just kind of want to talk a little bit about this. Like I said, join us on our Discord if you want to weigh in on this as well. What have you been doing to try and keep everything fresh within 14, or just fight through this content drought? Chille, let's start with you.
What's up?
I was just gonna say, being you are a game journalist for PlayStation Universe. You play a lot of different games outside of Final Fantasy XIV, even though every week you always say you play Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, well, a lot of the games I can't really talk about, or I just don't like talking about it because they were shit. That recent game I was playing.
The life of a reviewer.
But no, to be honest, on Fantasy XIV, I've started going back to doing content that I've never beaten before, or just challenging myself.
How about those I know this basement dailies?
Nah.
I've seen every so often people putting up party finders for wanting to run a particular piece of content at minimum eye level, just for the challenge of it.
Well, we've been practicing XDeath because we never completed it when it was relevant. So we've been trying to progress in that Savage. So far, we got to the third mechanic in Neo XDeath.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we've only been in twice. So,
but I suppose you're going in at your current eye level, so that makes things a little bit. But it makes things a little bit easier versus what they had to deal with when it was relevant content.
We don't die instantly.
Which, I mean, when it was relevant content, it was the type of thing where people were struggling for huge periods to learn. And if it's not something where you're getting the latest stuff out of it, maybe people aren't super interested in making it that much of a struggle.
Well, we just want to try and beat it so we can start farming the mounts.
That's a legit reason for it. Everybody wants to get that to Alter right.
Yeah. But so we've been learning that recently. And I threw myself, the old extremes. There's a couple that I've had always struggled with beating on my own.
Okay.
Like, Ultima Bane.
Okay.
because
Oh, you've been trying to solo some of these?
yeah.
Oh, very nice.
So I soloed Ultima's Bane. See, the problem with that fight is if you get more than 4 stacks, it kills you.
Yeah. I tried a couple times, but that was the thing I ran into as well. Just
Luckily,
like that viscous aetheroplasm wrecking me.
Yeah. Luckily, I was able to beat it recently.
Yeah, I think I beat it once on a red mage.
And then Ramu, the extreme mode. Because I find Ramu's one of the hardest old extremes. So.
It's interesting seeing a lot of this content where it's like, in a lot of games, when the stuff gets old enough, you can just come in as whatever and solo it. And that's not quite the case here.
Yeah, there's a few pieces of content you actually cannot solo or run with too small of parties.
It's always fun to see the Wondrous Tales crowds and the people who are like, oh, I guess we shouldn't have burned Ramu down as fast as we can.
Or Leviathan.
But my proudest win, and I'm very proud of this because I've actually seen people still wiping it when I do story, is, the story-based Nidhogg fight. The
final steps of faith?
Yeah. Not the bridge, but the actual fight, where you fight when he transforms into Stinian form thing.
Yeah, it's final steps.
Yeah, I was able to solo that after a couple of stacks of Echo as Paladin.
But the story mode one, not the extreme mode.
Not the story mode.
Oh.
Just the story mode, not the extreme. Yeah.
Okay.
But that story mode one is ridiculous because once you get so far in, each time the boss does that Archmon, it adds another one. So
yeah, I suppose if you're doing a lot of them, or if it has to go through a lot of them, you're getting hit for 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Well, you got Hollow
kind of reminds me of like Titan, where it was when he was doing Tumult, when he would do the stomps, every cycle through, he'd add another stomp. And it's like, you are eventually going to reach a point where your healers can't keep up.
Yep.
Yeah, I ended up, luckily, on my third go, I realized on the last one to just use Hallowed Ground.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or, Hollow Ground has how much of a cooldown?
5 minutes, I think.
Oh, and how long did it take you to beat the boss?
About 6 or 7.
Okay, so theoretically you could use Hallowed Ground early on as well, and then still have it available at the end.
Yeah.
Theoretically saving you a little bit of clemency and some MP.
Yeah.
One could futz around with this.
Yeah, like I said, this is just theory crafting a little bit.
But it was fun learning and doing that stuff. The next step I'm going to do is, because I've seen some Paladin solo Bahamut.
You know what you should do? You should try and solo up the Palace of the Dead.
Maybe. I have tried to solo Alexander, by the way.
That's probably tough. Story mode again?
Yeah. I got forced down to 9%.
I'm vaguely reminded of Final Fantasy XI, where when it had been going for a while and we were starting to go through droughts or with all the stuff like that, how friends of mine would be like, okay, like I heard a red mage can solo Genbu, let's try doing this. And it would just turn into how few people can we clear content with? And it's just kind of here's this thing that we're familiar with, but we're coming at it from a completely new angle, different strategies, different plans. And that was a fun and interesting way to kind of revitalize it.
What was that Japanese red mage's name?
Avesta?
Yes.
Avesta, yeah.
He was amazing. He was like a legend in Final Fantasy XI.
Yeah, I heard of the legendary Avesta Taru Red Mage Ninja.
Yes.
Or was it Red Mage, Black Mage? I can't remember. He
was Red Mage in a whole bunch of different subs, depending on what he was doing.
Yeah. The sub is content dependent.
Yeah.
Like there was some content for which Red Mage sub Dark Knight was a great idea.
Like Dynamis Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still salty that I never beat him. I remember. I'm gonna bring this up. This is like 10 years ago now, but
go ahead.
I'm still salty.
That's kind of what we're talking about here.
Basically, it was the first time I was doing Dynamis Lord, and we got to him, and we pulled him, and we told everyone we had 2 Red Mage Dark Knights, right?
Right.
And we told the second one to limit break to 2 hour after the first one's ends, so we could finish.
It's not limit breaks; it's 2 houring, but yes.
Anyway, the first one 2 hours, we nearly killed it, and then we died because the other one refused to use it.
Why?
I know, it was like, just use it. It's like, I don't want to waste it. I'm like,
this is the explicit reason you were brought.
This was why you were here.
Well, at least you didn't require a vote kick to get rid of that asshole.
But we never, I never got to try it again.
I'm kind of hoping that person got booted from the show.
Oh, he did.
Good.
And blacklisted.
Yeah. He said, I don't want to do that. Then why did you join us?
Right. 11 had some very specific party compositions that you needed to get through content. And if you didn't play ball, you didn't play.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the reasons I know in 14 they've often been reluctant to implement certain types of fights because they don't want to create you have to bring this job.
But the thing is, a lot of people were actually, that was part of what they would do is they would level up multiple jobs on their characters so they could then be included in whatever content they wanted.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the idea that you have to do that to be included is something that...
But it was a very different feeling game at the time as well versus Final Fantasy XIV. The MMOs today versus MMOs 10 years ago, very different.
I still remember one fight where I got kicked because my main was like a tank. And as a Paladin Taru, a lot of people didn't like it. I can't remember what fight it was now. I think it was Bahamut, but it might not be. It was in the floating island area.
Not Monarch Lyn, but it led to Monarch Lyn.
Yeah.
Rivern.
Yeah.
Damn it, brain! I don't need this information.
But yeah, I got kicked from that party when we got there because they found out I was a Taru Paladin, and my friends decided that they were going to be running a couple of hours later, so I waited a couple of hours. They failed, and I ended up main tanking the second with my friends, and we won. I'm like, suck it! You should have kept me. Suck it.
Yeah.
The amount of things that people blamed on, like, it's like, oh, Elvon missed all the time because they've got a huge racial accuracy penalty. It was like 1 or 2 points difference.
Yeah. There were a lot of people who would min-max stats. I mean, if you were going to be a thief, you had to be a Mithra. Or if you were going to, there was so much of that. I didn't buy into that either. But
see, what I did was to be a little bit different, because I knew I had a major disadvantage because we had so little health compared to everyone else. One of my main things I would do was just spam cure. Because our mana pool was so big as a Taru.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Or the freaking Prima Game strategy guide, which had outright incorrect information about some classes.
Yeah.
The author did not seem to think that Galka could play any job. Every single one when they were doing the analysis and the racial things and whatnot, they had nothing positive to say about Galka for that.
Well, did anybody have anything positive to say about Galka?
Wow.
Great sausages.
Yes. For Mithra Fun Hole.
No, remember that I am Galka.
And sausages. This is why Bastok is so problematic.
Well, I won't tell you why I used to call Bastok because I don't think it's allowed on stream.
Okay.
I mean, there were a lot of names for them.
Let's just say there's only 1 letter difference.
Anyway, yes, and that was a huge thing in that game. But there were people who played that game beautifully, and they could be whatever character they wanted, any race they wanted, and they just played the game well. Yeah. So there's people who have these stereotypes. It's totally misplaced.
So I'm still saying to this day that a GM helped me beat Matt.
Okay, what's the story?
Sorry, do you want me? Sorry.
Dude, tell that story.
Yes.
Basically, please. I was in the not Falcon Tunes, Alterpa, and I saw these bots running around. Well, I was farming to try and make some gil to buy a scorpion harness because I was a bit short. Well, not a scorpion.
Scorpion harness. I hate you, Eureka. Sorry.
Yeah, I think there was a scorpion harness because although I was a monk, I was a poor monk. I didn't really have it. So anyway, I decided. Anyway, my friend who actually had the relic weapon said she had a spare one, so she was going to lend me it. So anyway, I reported the bots that I saw because I saw them teleporting around, and and they said, "Oh, thank you, Chille, for the blah blah blah. Is there anything else we can do for you today?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm about to go fight Matt. Do you mind putting me on God mode?" So they're like, oh no, we can't do that. Sorry, Miss Chille, but have a good day and good luck. I hope you win. I said, oh, thank you. Anyway, got the harness from my friend, went to fight Matt. He hit me once.
Nice.
And then I left the fight, and the GM was stood there and said, well done, and clapped.
I definitely know there was like a GM that I and a couple of my friends had occasion to talk to. That one time we did see he ended up coming out of Invisible around where we were having a XP party. So I was like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
I had it a few times actually because I'd talk to them in GM in the chats occasionally, in the call centers. I think until I left, I think I had the most GM calls on my server. I think I had 1,200.
As long as they weren't about you.
No, I had one where I asked for a hug, and I got one.
Aww.
And then there's the wonderful stories of GM Dave.
Oh yes.
Oh, I remember that entire. That was a funny series.
It was hilarious. Those who remember GM Dave.
Creative writing project, but totally an enjoyable one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
not a true thing. So yeah, where were we at? Chille was kind of talking about the things he'd been doing in the content drought.
Apart from doing old content, a bit of Heaven on High, we tried again to get to floor 100, but we wiped on floor 77. So we're going to have to restart again. A little tip, the Rams, they look innocent. They don't really do much, and they don't hurt that much, but they do an AoE that sucks you in and then can one-shot you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So stay at max range if you can. Otherwise, stun it.
I think just like try to kill them fast.
Yeah, because we had two period luring traps, so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So those Pommanders of Safety and Pommanders of Sight will be very important.
Though I was pissed because I survived, because, being the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And Hollow Ground happened after the next auto attack, so my corpse had the invincibility.
Thanks, game. Woo. We still need to get in there sometime, Seyrr.
I want to join you guys.
We need to find the time when everybody's available. But again, it's a whole, life happens thing.
Real life.
Yes. It sucks that you're 2 hours earlier than us. You don't get home till later, and we're about ready to call it a night. At least I am, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out.
And then I'm like 7 hours or whatever.
Yeah, but you're always up this time anyway, Chille.
Yeah.
All
but
right.
Seriously, I want to say thank you for that. I don't know why.
Okay. What about you, Seyrr? And like I said, lately you've been doing a lot of IRL stuff.
Yep.
What have you been doing to keep the game from getting stagnant and stale?
So I mean, that has been the thing for a lot of it's been like, if I'm not feeling it, I don't stress about playing. It's harder for one of the things that starts making something feel stagnant and stale is when you're not really enjoying it, but you're going in and kind of going through the motions. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing for me has been, it's like, is there actually something specific I want to do? There are some days where I will log in and I've been doing some stuff with the free company airships and submersibles, so I'll send those out. I'll check in on a couple other things, maybe do a couple quick quests if I feel like it, and then be like, okay, I'm kind of feeling about done for the day. There's nothing that feels especially driving to do, so I'm not going to stay on and just keep trying to force something to happen. I'm going to go do something else.
So what are some of those other things you've been doing?
As I mentioned, for the past week or so, I've been pet sitting for some friends, taking very good care of the pupper. I met up last Sunday. I met up with a friend of mine at the local farmer's market, and we got something like 10 pounds of fruit and made jam.
Ooh, nice. What kind?
So there was some peach jam, some very nice white peaches, I think it was, or did we use the yellow for that? But some for which we left the skins on, and so it has a kind of nice darker color to it with the pieces of fruit throughout.
Almost like a marmalade?
Kind of. And then I had been having it on the brain for a while, and it was Chris was telling me that it was pretty late in the, like, well past the season, but there was a stall that had like some cherries left. So we ended up making cherry jam, which came out amazing.
Wow. Are they sweet cherries, tart cherries?
They're like kind of tart.
Okay.
So yeah, ended up with like, since we split the results between us, so I took home 4 jars of each kind of jam, and I'm going to send a couple to various people, especially some people who live in areas where it's harder to get produce, so they can enjoy a little bit of the summer when it starts getting cold. And I think in the next day or two, we're actually going to go ahead and try making grape jelly, since he also has some grapes from that. So practicing, learning about new cooking stuff, actually getting somewhere through my library book pile. Right now I have
culinary and Seyrr.
Hey, like, there's a reason that I go for culinarian first thing. Like, I love the real world links with it. I was talking about borscht. I could tell you about the recipe in the in FF14 that is borscht and why it has particular elements, because those are ones that show up in borscht as well. The beet soup, that's why it actually has those pieces of meat in it. That's something that appears in real borscht. Also, that dollop of sour cream gives it a nice... Anyways. So, yeah, but definitely just a bit of indulge in other interests. Like, it's very easy for people. I've actually have some friends who have been dealing with some drama and trouble from getting to the idea like, okay, I need to be #1 on this thing. I need to be the best, or I need to keep advancing. It's like, okay, you're going to get that, and then what? Like, at a certain point, it just becomes about competing against a whole bunch of other people, each of whom says, I need to be the best at this. Sometimes with the kind of implied, because I have nothing else going for me. And it's like, come on. Like, there's lots of stuff where you don't even have to be the best at it. And it's just like, you can do something at it. You can learn about things. Like, sic transit gloria mundi, and like, thus passes the glory of the world. All glories are fleeting. So, seriously, don't stress about it that much. I love this game. I love the lore. It's not worth killing myself over, literally or figuratively.
So, Seyrr, we got a recommendation in the chat that you should look into doing a Final Fantasy cookbook.
Oh, I could not write a cookbook. That is involved. I know a lot about it. I could certainly talk about dishes from time to time, and I could certainly make recommendations about interesting stuff I'd seen. I was actually... Oh man, I never did get around to making that chocolate semifredo.
And there are a couple of people out in the community who actually have taken Final Fantasy recipes and made real-life counterparts.
Yep, I've seen a couple blogs of that. I know Maelstrom Radio occasionally has Mealstrom Radio.
Yep.
I remember, I think it was one of the FF11, like one of the Japan events, where the specialty dishes they served, like at the event, actually included some stuff with camel meat because of Dommels being like a somewhat similar type of thing. And it was something where it's like, hey, here's this kind of exotic thing. And it was like getting to get an idea of like, hey, here's what your character might be enjoying. Here's the types of things that you're doing. This is something that's giving you like this strong, powery, gamey flavor or things like that. I've also seen people get into like I knew someone several years back who actually started making very simple bows as a result, or getting into like simple types of like blacksmithing or other types of crafting. It's really fun for a lot of these things to start learning about, oh, hey, this thing that they represented in here, it's kind of the simplified version of this. Oftentimes you'll find the bits that you know from the game give you a jump on understanding how the real thing works, in part because of the lore localization, like all the various teams working on this, take a lot of care to try to keep their elements as accurate as possible. It's fun to look at some of the alchemy recipes and be like, oh, yep, I understand why they're doing that. That's part of invoking this actual chemical reaction.
And there you go. There's Seyrr, bringing all that back around, lore style and everything.
Yeah. Stuff is interesting. Go forth and do things and look at interesting things.
Now, I've had a little bit of a different aspect or point of view on everything. As somebody who has been streaming every day, as a content creator, not just somebody who does the podcast every 2 weeks, I'm doing something for you guys every day here at on the Twitch channel. And to try and keep things from getting stale and boring and me hating myself and all of that has been a very interesting challenge. And I appreciate everybody who has stuck with me as we've been trying to figure out what the best thing to do for not only my sanity, but to make it enjoyable for you guys. It's been quite a journey. So as a lot of you are aware, for the past few months now, we've been doing Throwback Thursday. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VI on stream every Thursday night, and we've been having a good time with that. I hope you guys have been enjoying my first time playing through Final Fantasy VI.
Wait, that's your... Jeez, I didn't realize it was your first time.
It is
That's
my first
awesome.
time.
Aww.
And I'm not sure. I'll probably do 4 next. Again, it'll be a first time. I never had a Super Nintendo.
Ah, that explains it.
Like I said, I own all the games for PlayStation. I just haven't gone and played them yet.
Right.
But now that I'm a streamer, it gives me an opportunity to go through that. As a huge Final Fantasy fan, and get to experience these games, and fully understand where a lot of this is coming from firsthand, and give you guys the opportunity to see my first reactions. I think that's kind of a cool thing. That's also, so it's a cool thing that I've waited for that. I mean, I kind of feel bad that I've waited almost 40 years, in my life to do stuff like that, but you know what I mean.
So, I mean, what I'd compare it to is there was a very long-running webcomic I read that would sometimes update in huge bursts, sometimes it would go a bit between. And one of the things that the creator talked about was the differing experience for people who are like coming to the site every day, reading these things, speculating about, oh, what could this thing mean? Oh, how do you think that's going to happen? Oh, do you think this thing for the past is going to come back here? But compared to someone who reads it all in one go, who often has a bit of an easier time seeing things that are coming because other elements are more fresh in their memory. And the idea that one is not necessarily better than the other, but that they are different. You're going to have different experiences and you'll end up getting different things out of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that it's not necessarily a bad thing or like a somehow pitiable or whatever that you didn't get into it until now. It's just you're going to have a different experience from the experience others had. Absolutely.
And like I said, it's kind of cool to be able to share that with you guys. I've also been started playing Fortnite now. A very different style game from any of the Final Fantasies, but still fun. I think you guys have been enjoying me learning the game a little bit and getting destroyed pretty handily most of the time, but I guess I'm starting to get better at it, and I'm having fun doing it, so I'm hoping you guys are enjoying that. But I think the most enjoyable thing that I've done so far with you guys is Music Mondays. So we've been...
You do love that. I can hear the joy that you have for it every time you talk about what you're doing this time around.
Well, the last 3 weeks, we went through and listened to the Stormblood OST. Start to finish. And
good stuff.
It was amazing. And because Soken has done an amazing job with the music within Final Fantasy XIV. And, I know not everybody has the ability to go out and purchase a $50 Blu-ray to listen to the music whenever they want. So, being able to share that with you guys. And then I think the coolest part is letting the viewers pick the songs they want to listen to. We're going to start that back up again on Monday. You guys will be able to then go back and pick any song from YouTube with a Final Fantasy influence or, right from Final Fantasy game, and then play the songs that you guys like to hear and share that with everybody. That has been so much fun. The different songs I get to hear from the different games is just been phenomenal.
Yeah, when someone picks out a song that it's like, oh yeah, I remember this song, I just haven't thought about it in so long. Like that serendipity is something that's just really magical.
Yep. I know, because Aurori and Fair Eyes and Kane, they're all regulars on my streams, especially Mondays, and then the songs we get out of those is just so much fun. And just, I think, like I said, I'm trying to make sure that I keep having fun doing this for you guys, and not make it just feel like work. When you get to 215, 216 days in a row, it starts to feel like, it could start to feel not as fun, not as refreshing, not as enjoyable. But the fact that you guys are, enjoying it with me and keeping me sane, it's making it a lot easier to handle. And yes, Nick Nard, the Sanctuary Zeta is an amazing song.
Oh my god, that song gives me shivers.
Did you see the version that I linked on Twitter? A user used the perform action to recreate it. You go through my Twitter history. I made sure to specifically mention Aurori so she could see it because it's one of her favorite songs too.
That's amazing.
It was just phenomenal.
Yeah. The only reason I'm not doing it right now is I imagine you would object to me being like, okay, I'm not paying attention to the show for a while.
Well, we figure that's what you do anyway, so.
Yeah, but I try not to like be too blatant about it. I mean, that's just rude.
But I mean, if you want, I do recommend that you go try and find it. Just check the Phoenix Town Radio Twitter feed. It's from about
I'm totally going to.
Ago.
As I said, like the main thing is that I'm just not doing it right.
I'm talking to our listeners as well.
Oh,
so.
Okay, yes. Listeners, go find awesome music. Enjoy cool music.
And if you don't follow us on Twitter, go follow us at PHXDN Radio.
The world is full of cool art, and you should enjoy it.
But so I mean, I've been really struggling to try and keep things fresh. So the other thing that I've been doing a lot of, and also relating to a lot of the fundraising things and charity streams that are going to be coming up for us, I've been watching a lot of videos on demand of people playing Final Fantasy games at these types of fundraisers, like Games Done Quickly or RPG Limit Break. So are you guys familiar with GDQ and those types? They just had Summer Games Done Quick done, what was it, about 3-4 weeks ago here in Minneapolis?
Pretty recently, yeah.
So this year they did Final Fantasy VI, and because I'm playing it right now, I was enthralled to watch it. I wanted to see, compare my experience to it to basically a professional level speedrunner and see how they do it differently and what the things that I can be gleaned from it and things I need to look for as I'm going forward. Yes, I spoiled myself a little bit, but that's all right. I know what happens in the game.
At this point, like the broad strokes of the plot have been like referenced in so many things, it would be difficult for you not to know it.
Yeah, and well, the fact that Sigmascape, yeah. So anyway, so I watched that. Shout out to Poexel. I know you're probably ever gonna listen to this episode, but you did an amazing job at GDQ this year. Thumbs up from me. But that also had me go check out. They did it last year. They did Final Fantasy VII. They did RPG Limit Break. They did Final Fantasy VIII. I'm in the middle of watching that one right now, and just watching all of that is just so much fun. Seeing how they are, talking with the people watching on the stream, the people that are actually watching them live at the venue, and trying to figure out ways that I can keep things interesting and refreshing and not try and bore people so much, because I tell you what, it's difficult to stream every day. It may seem pretty easy, but trying to make it entertaining and enjoyable, that's tough.
It really is interesting to watch a lot of these, and like if you've ever heard people talk, it's like, oh, you're just watching someone play video games. How could that be interesting? And it's like, it's not just about that. It is about like the people who share anecdotes, who have interesting patter, who can make interesting comments about what's going on. Like, it's not just saying, oh, you're just watching someone play a game. It feels like saying, like, when you go to a symphony concert, oh, you're just watching someone tap on a piano. Yeah. It's like, this is technically true. Right? Yeah, it's like, this is technically true, but also missing the point so much.
Yeah, it's a performance.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, when we first started this Twitch channel, it was so we could do our podcast live for you guys. And we basically were on here at least every 2 weeks and sometimes in between. Since then...
Good Lord willing and the creek don't pass.
And we're still doing it, guys. We're almost at 3 years.
Oh my God, that's weird.
We hit 75 episodes today.
That's so weird.
And you guys keep coming back. And we love you for it.
We don't quite understand it, but we love you.
Yes. But, since then, there came a time when I transitioned from just a podcast host to a streamer. And then, more and more frequently, I've been showing up, and doing these streams and trying to keep it all good. And Nick Nar...
Almost only counts in hand shoes and horse grenades, Kappa.
Thank you for that cheer. Almost only counts in hand shoes and horse grenades.
Nothing like a good spoonerism.
So, Kane, if you guys come for Seyrr, why do you show up on the other 13 days between episodes?
Well, I mean, sometimes I drop in unexpectedly.
Yeah. Oh, so they only show up to try and see if you're going to show up, huh?
Exactly.
I get it now.
Awesome.
So I just need to make sure that to mute Seyrr's channel whenever he tries to show up, and...
Wow. Rude.
No, just kidding.
Oh.
But, anyway, so that's kind of what I've been up to, is, trying to make sure to keep Final Fantasy fresh, so I want to keep logging in, so I can keep making it enjoyable for you guys. So I've been trying to find other things to do with it. And I hope it's been working. Like I said, we've been continuing to keep you guys subscribing to us, supporting us out on Patreon, and just coming and viewing the VODs, downloading the podcast, checking out the website. We really appreciate it. And like I said, I don't know how to thank you for that. But I know it's kind of a little bit of a tangent, but it kind of all ties together, because we want to make sure that the content we're providing for you guys is just as entertaining, so you guys keep coming back. I kind of feel like, in a very small way, the same type of thing with what a game developer needs to do to keep the players coming back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a lot smaller, but...
I mean, like, everyone's providing some kind of entertainment for the others, and it's like, hey, like, what does your audience want? What's going to actually be enjoyable?
Mm-hmm. And also make sure that it's fun for me. I mean,
Well, yeah.
Because, yeah, I know that people seem to want to watch everybody playing Fortnite all the time, every time, nothing else, because that seems to be the flavor of the month. But, like I said, I'll try it. I've been having fun with it, but I'm not going to do, 7 streams a week of it. I think Fortnite Friday is good enough.
You can't make streams entertaining if you yourself are not entertained by it. Are you not entertained?
You're right.
Because...
Oh, no, Chille, that is absolutely, like, the key point there.
Yes, that's exactly what, I was trying to get to, and I hopefully did say it at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, thing that came to mind, a friend of mine has been talking to me about World of Warcraft, where they've been ramping up to an upcoming expansion themselves, and so they've been having lots of major events, lots of stuff setting the stage for it, and just listening to him describe what's going on, like the excitement and passion he has for it, and like how much fun he's been having, is absolutely palpable. And hearing him talk about it has had me been like, maybe I should go resub for a bit and check it out, like based purely on how much he's enjoying it and how much he shares of that enjoyment when he talks about it. So that kind of excitement, that kind of enjoyment absolutely reaches other people.
I just realized we're really close to 500 followers.
We have been very close to 500 followers for about the last month and a half.
Only 5 followers to go. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we've gained and lost followers quite a bit at this point right now. Like I said, I remember we were at 498, I think, 2 weeks ago. Like I said, that's just the way it is. You get people who stop by, they check it out for a while, and they're like, I've never been there, so they just unfollow. And that's fine. Like I said, I don't expect to be, entertaining to everybody. I hope you guys enjoy what we do. So the ones that are still here and that are still following us and that check us out every so often, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. So, and if there's something you want to see, let me know. I'm always looking to make sure to keep you guys entertained and make sure that I am having a good time doing it as well. So let us know if there's something you want to see.
Hardcore nudity.
That falls within Twitch's guidelines.
Chille and Pain, some more.
No. Well, you can do that at twitch.tv/PSU Live.
Yeah, so you missed some of the stream. Well, you didn't see any of it, did you?
No. I do not actually log into the Twitch stream because it does sad things to my computer.
You do know what I was eating, right? During the 24-hour stream.
Why do you do that to yourself? Seyrr says competitive eating whatnots are bad for you.
But they were really nice. They were nice, though, actually, to be honest. My favourite was the orange. The orange ghost peppers were really nice.
Oh yeah, I hear you actually do start to develop a taste for that kind of thing after enough of them.
Well, Chille is a spice lord.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Chille. Well, that and the fact that he couldn't pronounce his name, right?
Yeah, people couldn't pronounce my second name, and just kept calling me Chille Bear.
Well, everybody likes a good cold brew.
I feel like I should not think about this one too hard.
Well, it's because my surname's Chille Bear, so.
Oh, that actually makes sense. But why can't people pronounce that? That's not that hard.
Because my whole name is Benjamin Thomas William Chille Bear Hall.
Yeah, none of that is difficult. What's wrong with people?
Try saying it fast.
Benjamin, I forgot your middle name.
Thomas William.
Benjamin Thomas William Chille Beer Hall.
See? Say I can say it.
No, say it 5 times fast.
I'll do it. There is a fucking reason I get customer service awards, thank you. I make the effort to say people's names.
And I'm nice to people when I have to be.
I'm nice to people even when I don't have to be. I make an effort to say their names right.
Only when you want to be.
Which is most of the time. Except when I can get a laugh out of teasing you.
See?
But that's just good-natured abuse of the kind that's really not okay.
That's just buddy teasing.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, you're even nice to your dad sometimes, Nicomancer says.
Do you want a birthday present or not, punk?
Don't worry, Nico, I'll send it to you.
Shh. You don't even know what I'm planning to get him. He's gonna love it, but...
Is it gonna be, I don't know why I want to say voodoo doll. Is it gonna be a voodoo doll?
No.
Okay.
He says, sorry, sir.
That's better.
Oh, all right. Unfortunately, we didn't have anybody who wanted to join us on Discord today. But like I said, for those of you listening out on the podcast, feel free to shoot us an email, podcast@phoenixstarradio.com, or you can tweet it at us at phxdnradio. We do want to hear the things that you've been doing to try and keep Final Fantasy XIV fresh. And,
or the stuff you've been struggling with.
Yep.
Like, sometimes it's just a hard time, and so some people do fall into those doldrums. So go ahead and share that as well.
Yeah. By the way, I'd like to confirm the fact that I was right about the 10 rolls last time, so I'm happy. This could be a bit bloated in my opinion, but...
So they did confirm it's going to be all 10?
Yeah, it's all 10.
Wait, what's all 10?
You get all 10 roll
in 4.4.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have some open spots on my bar, but I mean...
I don't think it's 4.4, is it? It's 4.
I thought it was 4.4 they were bringing that in.
I thought it was earlier because it's like a hotfix sort of thing.
Well, coming soon.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think it's 4.36. I think it's 4.4. Anyway, like I said, we'll have to...
But what's the 4 for?
For 4?
But is it before 4?
Anyway, moving on.
So, after 4.
Yeah, please look forward to it. So we haven't... Something else that you guys can look forward to now is an actual Librarian's Corner segment. Haven't had one of those in a while. So, Seyrr...
Yeah, stuff happened.
Yeah, we know. So what are we going to talk about today?
All right, so the last time we did one of these, people were wanting to know about had wanted to start knowing more about the lore of different jobs. So this time around, I think we're going to be talking about monks.
Yay!
Yep. I think we're slated for ninjas next time. Pretty much whatever someone thinks to ask me to do next is probably the one I'm going to end up doing. So if you have opinions about things, this is your chance. Like, very few people actually bother to say anything. You guys seem to love whatever I say, which, I mean, it's nice and all, but
I
if
don't
you have
understand
opinions,
it.
I requested monk because I punch things.
yeah. So yes, monks. And as Chille says, he punches things. And pugilism, that the base that eventually becomes monks, is something that you find kind of all over the world. We fight pugilists pretty much everywhere. Right? You make your hand into a fist, you hit someone with it. It is not hard. Sometimes you grip a piece of metal while you're doing it because that makes your fist heavy. And that makes you hit harder. But so pugilism has all over Eorzea. But monks refers to a specific school of martial arts, that a tradition that originates in Alamigo with the Fist of Rhalgr. Now, those who remember Alamigo's founding myth know about the great star that streaked across the sky, believed to be the Rhalgr leading them to Alamigo, which is why, of course, Rhalgr is, or Tagir Abania, the land that would eventually become Alamigo, which is why, of course, Rhalgr is their patron deity. And so the Fists of Rhalgr were a monastic order that kind of tried to temper their body and spirit, try to sort of approach this divine ideal. So a lot of the like meditation, monastic traditions, of course, having this element of like withdrawing yourself from the world in order to be able to approach the divine. And in the case of the Fists of Rhalgr, because they're the god they worship is the destroyer, focusing specifically on this combat aspect. In the process, of course, they discovered within themselves that the ether within us has these kind of like little focal points that they refer to as chakras. And by manipulating the energy that flows through them, they're able to adjust their personal ether in order to create a variety of effects that would augment their martial prowess. So, for instance, the ability shoulder tackle, I believe canonically it's been established that as part of that movement, ether is actually channeled into your shoulder in order to give it more impact force and prevent yourself from being injured with it. Which I guess would explain why at the higher levels, when you start getting those elemental ones, you're now aspecting the ether that you put into there, and that allows you to sort of get additional effects out of it. So like a lot of the other jobs that we've seen, you have this, hey, ether is this source of power that you're manipulating in these various ways to create unusual, almost supernatural effects. Now, the Fists of Rhalgr, given the environment in Giribania, and you have this thing that's becoming this strong fighting force, they actually became a military force in their own right and became kind of part of the ruling political structure of Alamigo. This was working pretty well for them until the reign of Mad King Theodoric, the King of Ruin, who saw them, perhaps rightly, as like this really dangerous force and this threat to his rule. And so King Theodoric was the one who was responsible for the burning of the Temple of the Fist and for the extermination of the vast majority of the monks. There are a couple that had escaped in secret. A lot of the various machinations of these, including internal divisions within the Fist of Rhalgr, some sects of light and shadows and the like, are the subject of the monk job quests. Kind of these last remnants, this dying tradition, and your efforts to kind of revitalize it, which Stormblood tied in really nicely with coming back to Alamigo. It's like, hey, you're bringing back this important part of Alamigo's culture. Now, monks themselves, like the general concept of a monk, is something that we've had ever since the very first Final Fantasy game. In the mainline series, I think there was only one that I couldn't reasonably say there is no type of monk or brawler or black belt or other type of fist fighter like that. Some notable dedicated monk type characters include Yang from Final Fantasy IV, Sabin from Final Fantasy VI, Tifa from 7, Zell from 8, Amaranth from 9, and Snow from 13. And then in some of the others, like 3, 5, 12, you have characters who can choose to fight with fist weapons and either explicitly take a monk job or select a variety of abilities and loadouts that effectively make them into a monk. As I said, for 10, Riku does fight using hand-to-hand weapons, but her style is a bit more of like an agile thief type thing. She does not really have quite the monk feel to her.
She would be the closest thing, though.
One might also argue Auron for some aspects of it, though he's definitely a lot more of a samurai. I feel like there are like some aspects of Auron that might be somewhat monk-like. But there's not like Riku is probably the closest one, but she did feel far enough that I wasn't comfortable calling her that. That said, I believe Final Fantasy X-2 did have a much more monk-like option. I think the Berserker ended up being like a monk-like one, didn't it? It's been a while. Now, frequent elements of the monk include some type of, in various forms, some type of move like Focus, which has them store up power on one turn in order to deliver a stronger attack the next turn. Chakra, which, again, like this recurring thing, this idea of these centers of energy within the body, which typically is something where they use it as a kind of a self-healing move, kind of like rebalancing the body's energy in order to restore oneself, and some type of counterattack ability. The basic like, hey, you get hit, you punch back. Perhaps best exemplified with the Final Fantasy XI weapon cross counters, the specific type of like, as you punch, you get a counter punch type thing. Very deeply satisfying to yell cross counter whenever you did that, by the way.
Counter stance. AKA, please counter or I'm dead.
Yeah. I mean, like, you boost the counter rate on that, and it could be an oddly effective thing, as long as you don't get too many unlucky hits in there. Also, you would a lot of the games would have some type of mechanic involving some sort of combination attack, like Sabin's Blitzes, which involved command entry very similar to that of a fighting game, Tifa's Slot Machine limit break, which would line up a number of combination attacks in a row, and Zell's Dual limit break, which had him chain together attack after attack, often leading to elaborate finishing moves, or if you wanted to really cheese things and were patient, just going back and forth between his first two moves as quickly as you can, because you could enter both of them absurdly fast. That's how I defeated Ultimate Weapon. Or was it Omega Weapon? Whichever one was the bonus boss in 8.
I think it was Omega.
Sounds right. I'm not sure now. It's been a while. There's also a number of various recurring fist weapons. Kaiser Knuckles is one that seems to have shown up over and over. At this point, I had not found any significant information about what exactly that's supposed to be a reference to. I mean, other than like Kaiser, sort of like the king type thing, but that's just one I didn't really find a lot of results on when I was looking. Now, the one thing that is really important to the Final Fantasy XIV conception of the monk, both in terms of a lot of their later abilities and in terms of the storyline, and that has the interesting real-world links, is this idea of chakras. So, in the Final Fantasy XIV universe, it's kind of taken as a given that, yes, everyone has this ether in them. Ether is this, like, kind of magical life energy substance, and it's flowing around. So it's like, yeah, that's there. Everyone knows it. There's special gauges you can use to look at it. But that idea is something that's been around in our history for a very long time, though we, of course, do not have any type of gauge that one can use to look at and actually see the ether moving around in one's body. And so you often hear, depending on the exact tradition, you have some of this showing up in all sorts of Eastern mysticism, from Hinduism, Taoism, lots of other ones like that, where you have chi or ki, CHI or KI or QI, depending on how you Romanize it. But the idea that there is this energy kind of flowing around through the body, that there are these sort of focal points for it. 7 chakras, typically shown as kind of aligned with the human spine, starting from the very base of the spine, progressing up all the way to the crown of the head. Sometimes where you have that depiction of like the third eye, this kind of mystical center where all of this power culminates. Each of the locations of a chakra is supposed to be related to certain types of power, energy, things like that. For instance, the second chakra, which is supposed to be right at around connected to the genitals, has like a lot of sort of like energy related to that. This is where you get a lot of the ideas of various tantric practices and the like. But it's this idea that within people, like the power, the energy we have within us has these pathways that it flows through. And so that's an idea that's actually been around for quite a long time, explored and developed in various ways by a lot of different groups. I'm a little curious about where to reach. Like, when you have something that recurs in this many things, there's often a kind of a common root to it. But I ended up running out of time, and so I don't have a lot of information about that. But I think the thing that's most interesting for me is you've got this really developed body of work, lots of different traditions that use it, that explore it in some way. The idea that you can take your key and kind of like fire it, like Key Blast actually is another type of thing, or Aura Cannon, or other ones you've seen in other Final Fantasy games, where you actually take this energy and channel it out and fire it from your body as kind of a mystical laser.
Boost, 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 boost. Chi Blast!
All those monks with their Kirin staffs.
I used to bring mind potions as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little bit convenient that it's like, hey, you've got this entire system ready-made that slots in so perfectly with the Final Fantasy XIV cosmology. Given that Monk is already a mainstay, going all the way back to the Black Belts of Final Fantasy I, having this system that you can use for it is something like, I almost suspect that it was something where they may have used, like the chakras idea may have come first, and that may have been part of what was used as the development of. So I mean, the idea of like a live stream is something that's a lot of this, I think, is kind of borrowed from previous Final Fantasy. They've talked a bit before about the idea of FF14 being kind of a theme park version of a lot of the others. And so the big thing, of course, being that this is something, as I said, in the Final Fantasy XIV universe, it is taken as a given. It is reasonably easy to prove that there is this life energy going through. With humans, it's a little bit harder. A lot of it, I suspect, is a bit more perceptual, or like attempts to quantify something that maybe does not quite work that way, but we're doing our best with our perceptions of it. But the fact that it's this idea that comes back over and over points to this idea of like life, like as this kind of like, I can show you like a beaker of salt crystals, or like a thing of oxygen or something like that. But this idea of what life is as this kind of ineffable thing doesn't really have a substance to it, but yet it seems to animate stuff. It's something that's confounded people for a long time.
You mean like trying to actually quantify spirit energy and things of that nature?
Yeah, like that's something that's doesn't work nearly as neatly as saying, okay, and we have about 5 moles of sodium sodium atoms here. Like, it's something that kind of defies that. But as people who want to understand the world, want to try to categorize it, want to try to break stuff down to its constituent elements, it makes sense that we've had to come back to this idea of, well, there is some type of energy or movement or whatever, and that's what life is based on. And so, like, I guess it's not that surprising that it's come back to that over and over, because it is an attempt to explain something that is really more about a process than an actual physical thing. If you're to take a person, grind them down to dust, you will not find an atom of life anywhere. You will get promptly arrested and hopefully like sent away for a very long time. But so life as this thing that kind of defies this classification and examination, I think has really led to this creation of all these different types of systems to try to explain it. That's where like a lot of religious, mystical practices, they come from the attempts where I don't want to say it's that science fails, because it's not necessarily about a failure of it, but it's asking a question that can't really be explained by that framework. It's like something where it's not about building it into this framework. It's trying to understand things that do depend a bit more on faith and on belief than on anything provable. Whew. Or you can just like focus that all into your fist and use it to punch someone in the face. That's
as I was going to say, short, I'm a monk, I punch things.
Well, you channel ether into things so you can punch things.
Yay.
Or hit things with your shoulder and not dislocate it.
To be fair, have you actually seen what shoulder tackle looks like?
I just know you go zoom, and then all of a sudden you're like halfway across the battlefield.
I used it on what's called G-Post. I'll have to send you a picture. You can actually see it above your character.
I would be interested to see that.
I've done a picture. It looks like I've opened a portal.
Oh man, that does sound
hell.
Cool.
Yeah, I posted a picture. Chille opens the punch dimension.
And of course, some of that may be, here is an abstraction of this thing that's like, maybe it's not super well represented in terms of an animation, or they're trying to describe something that just doesn't work quite as neatly for that. Whatever. It still looks cool. And a lot of it does fit with a lot of those traditional depictions of martial arts. Like, I have to imagine on some level, being a monk is all about really loving old martial arts movies.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, with a lot of the way, monks nowadays, or just martial artists in general, the things that they can do seem to go above and beyond what a normal human can do.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of it is training their body, and what they also believe, where they come up with the key is training the mind and training the soul.
Right.
Whether or
and I mean,
not
like, there's a lot of it where it's like, hey, there's actually interesting meditative practices that, while I'm not 100% sure about some of the claims they make about them, it's like, hey, this is something that people do get benefit out of, that does do these nice things. Well, so it's like, hey, that's pretty cool.
The one thing that we can be sure of is the mind is an incredible thing, and when you set, a goal for yourself and really focus on it, you can accomplish some amazing things.
Yep.
So, there might be something to it, but...
And I think a lot of it is also just sometimes, like, this actually came up in a discussion I was having about something completely different the other night, but this idea that a lot of stuff that is intuition is often, like, very complex, nuanced concepts that we maybe understand at a deep gut level, but don't really have the words to describe. So, like, intuition, I think, is often a sort of, we get this on some level, but vocabulary is failing us. And so it just kind of becomes, it's this feeling, because that's about all you've got.
For anyone who wants to see my badass picture, I've decided to put in the Twitch chat for those that have joined us for Twitch.
There you go.
Huh.
So yeah. Click on it. Ooh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, part of it is also just like, hey, they've made a cool ability. They want to need animation to go along with it. It was maybe
don't see it because it's so instant. Normally.
Yeah, it was maybe not intended to ever be viewed at that scale.
But it looks so cool.
Well, yes. Lots of stuff that wasn't ever intended to be done a certain way does look really cool. Life is funny that way. Life is funny in a lot of ways when you get down to it.
As Dr. Malcolm says.
Actually, see, I spent real money on the new Mog Station items that are out now. You can go buy the high-end outfit, which I bought, male only.
I am so ticked off that that's male only. What if I want to be a cool badass?
I'm both happy and angry. I'm happy that we're finally getting some male-only items, because they're so limited male-only items.
Yeah.
But I'm angry that we're getting male-only items because I'd rather it be gender-free.
I know that there's a lot of other... Like, the bunny suit was one of the big ones. I know there's a lot of other items that people have requested that they be completely gender-unlocked at some point. I still want Snow's coat to be wearable by female characters.
And I want to wear the wedding dress.
Yeah. I understand that this takes...
Lalafell Dennis Rodman?
I understand that this
Okay.
takes development time and all that, so I understand why they may not actually get to it before, like, actually developing content, but...
But
Damn it, I could make
took
such a
them way
good
too
field
long.
doctor glamour with that.
But they took way too long with the bunny outfit, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm guessing it's something that was done in spare moments when they finished other things.
All right. Anything else then?
Thank you for that lore section, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the punching of the things. So like I said, if there's something you want to hear about, Red Mage, make sure to let us know at PHXDN Radio, or you can tweet at FFXIV SEYRR.
Red mages are the neckbeards of Eorzea. Everyone who is one is a neckbeard. This isn't actually true. I just wanted to tease Klaus. Please, no one at me.
Everybody at Seyrr,
Please
because
don't at me.
everyone loves red mages, at Seyrr, and tell him how wrong he is.
I mean, red mages are great.
Spam his Twitter feed and just show him how wrong he is.
Oh god, please don't blow up my phone. I just wanted to harass Klaus. Wait, that sounds terrible.
Also, if you're playing Monk and the party asks you, man, Chille, you're stealing so much hate, please use purification.
But
Go up to them and say no.
No, you go, but Mustax.
You go, no, Mustax, no. No purification for you. I'd rather die than use purification.
No, though the reason I ask Red Mage is I would like to see what kind of real life ties you can come up with.
Oh.
Seriously,
I got an idea on that, but I probably shouldn't spoil yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it's something you have time to work on, because I know that one might take a little bit more research.
So I did have a request to do Ninja next, but there's not anything else in the pipeline after that. So
all right. I know I did see Kane ask about Dragoon as well. So.
Oh, when was that one?
I asked about that a little while ago, about half an hour ago.
Oh, okay. Like there was Mithrin asked about Ninja like a couple weeks back.
Gotcha. All right. So we've got a few things that we can have him think about. So.
Yep, and as always, the lore channel in the Phoenix Down Radio Discord, or the Lorebrary as it's called. I watch it. I know several other major lore mongers watch it. Actually, most of us watch several lore channels on several servers. The moment that someone posts a question, like we descend en masse to start a 5-hour discussion. That will start with answering that question, and then diverge into about 4 or 5 different major topics, and eventually return to answer that question again, but with a bit more nuance. It's quite a trip.
And he gets mad at Chille for staying up and eating hot pepper sweets.
Hey, just because I'm a hypocrite doesn't mean I'm wrong.
All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode. If you liked what you heard, please make sure to like, subscribe, or follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, or the new Google Podcasts, or whatever your preferred podcatcher is out there. And if you can, leave us a rating or review. It really does help other people find our show and helps us to grow out in the community.
My god, those algorithms, like, even if your review is just like a sentence or something, like, the algorithms on it are pretty crazy, just how much having an actual review changes how many people get guided to it. It's kind of absurd. Yes,
it's absolutely true. And if you are really digging the show, please consider subscribing here at Twitch. Get access to those amazing new sub badges and emotes. Or you can support us out on Patreon at patreon.com/PhoenixDownRadio, like the amazing and incomparable Aurori Fenrir.
I feel like we could compare Aurori to things like a tuba.
But
Aurori is less metallic than a tuba. See?
Aurori is more amazing than a tuba.
I mean, it depends on the kind of tuba. Some of them are pretty wild.
Not as amazing as Aurori.
I didn't say amazing. I said wild.
Well, I said Aurori is more amazing than a tuba.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's tuba? Exactly! If you want to provide soundtracks for fat people, you need a tuba.
I still
have
won
no
that,
idea how I got onto this topic.
All
All I know
proceeds.
is I want a tuba now so I can follow Rogade and sing. There's a lullaby. Go do 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 do.
Oh my god, we need to suggest that for the next perform action.
All proceeds go towards growing the show, covering hosting costs, and allows us to do fun things like giveaways and other supporter-only incentives and things like that. But as always, any type of support, whether it's likes, retweets, follows, or whatever, are greatly appreciated because we love interacting with you guys out there in the community. Thank you very much for all that support. Our website is www.phoenixdownradio.com. You can check out some of all our past episodes, as well as We'll Go Around Radio, and a few articles as well. If you have any questions and you want to send us an email, you can catch us at podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. Our Twitter is @phxdnradio. And if you want to follow us out on Facebook, you can check us out at facebook.com/phoenixdownradio. So, who's got some... Hold on, I forgot something here. Before I skipped right over it, and I thought it was after the outro there. But we did actually get a new iTunes review. We got it a while back, and I just happened to miss it. So I apologize to the amazing Hirschenfersch.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, your name is fun to say.
Yes.
Hirschenfersch.
All right. Apple Podcasts made it easier than ever for me to leave a review, so I've officially run out of excuses. Good show. I listen while I'm at work, but have gone through the whole backlog, so keep making more episodes for me, yeah? With love, the punny potato of Fairy Hirschfersch.
Aww.
So thank you so much for that review. With that one, we're currently up to 17 ratings and 13 reviews. So like I said, if you have time and haven't yet gone out there, I did check. Google Podcasts still does not have a rating system. But if you have an Apple account, you can go out to Apple Podcasts or iTunes and leave a rating or review out there. So
You don't need the app anymore. Before you have to download it.
Okay, so if you actually go to Apple Podcasts on the website, you can go there now?
I don't know. Maybe that's what it means by it's easy to review.
Possibly. I don't know. I guess I don't get much into the Apple universe. I only have iTunes on my computer just so I can monitor all of these reviews.
I mean, for a lot of things, it's like even a modicum of effort means I'm going to be like, I'll do it later.
Yeah, and that is the trouble. Which is why all of the podcasts like us ask for this. So.
Mm. It's like I found it weird that my PlayStation podcast never really got comments. Found out that to view the comments, I have to download the phone app.
What?
Yeah,
that makes so little sense.
Anytime I click comments anytime I try to view comments on the actual Chrome website, it just didn't pop up with any comment. When I downloaded the app on my phone, several comments.
And you're like, wow, I would have been nice to know about all these comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. So, app makers, make it easier for people to leave and read comments and reviews and such, so people can actually utilize them. So yeah, and other app providers allow us to actually leave them. Google, also, I'm talking to you.
App providers, just give me some money.
You can sponsor us.
Like just $5. You know I'm probably good for it.
He's not.
This will work one of these days, right?
All right. Who wants to throw some shout-outs out real quick? Seyrr, you want to start?
Sure. So, shout out to Bowser, who is totally the best dog.
He's okay.
He's a pretty okay Bowser. I have had a lot of fun this week, just relaxing, recharging a bit. Shout out also to the people who really seem to like whenever I post a picture of him on Twitter, which includes a batch of you guys. I mean, I guess it's cute animals on the internet, so like it's a given. And shout out to the wonderful audience here who, like, I've heard it over and over, but it still always shocks me a little bit just how much you guys like to listen to me ramble on about whatever comes to mind. Like half of that talk was extemporaneous today. I was just like, okay, these are the things I know. This is what I remember. Oh, hey, let's explore that idea a little bit. So, like, you guys love what I'm doing, and I don't fully understand it, but I love that you love it. Thank you for making this so rewarding for me.
And how can they find you or get a hold of you?
So the main way that you can find me is I am on Twitter at FFXIV Seyrr, Seyrr. I mostly post random pictures of interesting stuff I cooked, or Bowser lately, or occasionally fun finds from the library. I appreciate the casual environment and just saying hey and seeing what you crazy kids think of what's going on.
Wonderful.
You guys are great. We live in a very interesting future.
Yeah. I never would have thought that 140 or /280 characters would be a major way of communication.
I have a lot of thoughts on that, but that would take us into another tangent, so I'll save them for another time.
Chille.
I have so many opinions, guys.
Hello?
You're up. What do you got to shout out?
That's a stupid question. First, I want to shout out to everyone that's been here, especially to those that turned up for my live stream on Wednesday. That is seriously, it helped me survive the 24 hours, knowing that some of you were there. Especially Klaus, thank you again for that. I know you were at work, and Flatus, and Shinta, because Shinta was retweeting all day for me, which was amazing of him. Shout out to RVL, because again, they were retweeting. Go check them out on twitch.tv. She heals a tank. Also, Flatus, check those out twitch.tv. Most Radio. Go check them out on mostlyradio.com. They've had some really bad technical issues recently, so go show them some love while they try and fix stuff. Apart from that, shout out to Klaus and Seyrr, and a shout out to Luna because we miss you.
And how can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Chille UK. You can email me at ben.chillebearhall@psu.com, and you can find me at pretty much every podcast that exists. Go just throw a dart, and I've probably been on it once.
Yeah, like PlayStation Unchained,
yep.
Or the Problematic Sticker Anime podcast, which we will be
recording
recording tomorrow.
Yeah. Though I just saw the numbers that we've just reached on Unchained, and I'll talk about it after this podcast because I'm really happy.
Sweet. Well, yeah, we'll be. You can talk about that once the actual podcast portion is done.
Yeah, once we're finished.
And of course, I want to shout out to my wonderful co-hosts, Seyrr and Chille. Thank you so much. This was really an unscripted and from the hip type of show this week. So I appreciate you guys working with me on that, and hope you guys had fun doing that with me today.
Oh my gosh! Like the next expansion, I totally want Machinists to get an ability or a trait called From the Hip.
Ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
I don't know what it would even do, but I want it to exist.
Faster shot, but loses accuracy.
I want Chi Blast back, so I've got a ranged attack as monk.
Anyway, I want to shout out to Luna. Hope you are having a wonderful evening. Kid free tonight, so she wanted to do something, I'm assuming, with a husbando. So hope you're.
Oh, sexy bang bang time.
I wasn't going there, but anyway.
So that's a thing.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who joined us here live at twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your support and sticking with us, joining us on the daily streams, and everybody listening to us on the podcast. Like I said, depending on whatever podcatcher you use, or if you get it right from the website, we appreciate you listening to us ramble on for almost 3 years now, talking about Final Fantasy.
And by the way, Kane, you guys are not nobodies. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be here in the first place. So you're even more important than we are.
Yeah, I mean, I
Totally.
definitely, that's why we shout you guys out every time for showing up. And we may not say your name every week, but we definitely love that you guys are here and supporting us and keeping us doing this.
Also, I think I deserve one of these. I always think I deserve one of these for what I just said. There we go.
Yeah, that does deserve a sticker, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
We're always thinking about you, stroking the little pictures of you we have in our secret mind.
That needs a sticker too.
Yep. bunch of stickers.
Yeah.
Or maybe something else. But
Oh, God damn it, Klaus. Eventually we're going to turn this into the Problematic Sticker podcast, so let's stop.
And I want to shout out to the guys on the Problematic Sticker, actually. If you guys are interested in anime, Chille and myself joined the other cast from the PSU crew, and we talk about anime. We talk about Boruto, My Hero Academia, and then we have a book club style review of another anime series that we picked the week before, and we talk all about that. This coming episode, we're going to be talking about My Love Story. Like I said, it sounds kind of like an odd one to talk about with a bunch of guys, but if you want to find out what we thought of it, check that out. It'll be available in a couple of days.
I saw the manga for that one. It looks utterly charming.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's all we're going to say, because if you want to know more, tune in, psu.podbean.com.
Oh, by the way, there'll be a guest on this week's Unchained as well.
Oh, wonderful. So, yeah, if you want to listen to good PlayStation podcasts, you can also check out PlayStation Unchained, also at psu.podbean.com.
Yep.
So there you go, Chille. I'm plugging you too.
Thank you so much.
Giggity.
Phrasing.
God damn it, Klaus.
All right. So for my co-host...
You can plug me anytime. No homo.
And we're going explicit. Awesome.
Well, we already have. So for Seyrr Timono, for Chille, I'm Klaus Nightbringer, wishing everybody a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Praise Lava Scorpion.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.